easy. So, did a couple little things. I put the back of the instrument panel on. That was just a piece of paper, cut, not backed with balsa, but just put on the opposite side. And then I installed that like I showed last time. I made the seat, which was made with, you know, two sandwich pieces on the bottom, two sandwich pieces for the actual back, and just rolled around and glued. Looks like a nice seat. I think the original would have been wicker, but this is fine. Those two white places are where a couple of pieces on the plans show you put them on the seat first, and they're going to support the seat in the cockpit. But what I found, it was easier to put them down there in the first place. Located where they went based on the plans, but see, those are right on those, remember those horizontal pieces that went in? Those act as a shelf, and it is perfect. So that way I was able to put them in and then put glue on the seat and drop the seat down in, play with it a little bit, get it straight. But that was much easier than trying to get those two horizontal pieces straight on the seat. Just put them in the cockpit, then drop the seat in later, and there it is. Looks pretty convincing. Gotta say, looks all right. Again, with the combing on there and stuff, it's all gonna be pretty dark in there. Here's my rudder pedal. Remember we said it was folded over and glued, and all I did was cut it out. Now there's a little nubbin that it fits on down in the floor to elevate it. So I'm going to try to point it out. It's really dark in there. But down there, right there, is a little piece of pulled sprue that I used. In the kit, it's a rolled piece of paper, but I am not Polish or Czech or German or Russian. Rolling those things is very difficult, that small, to me anyway. So I put that in with a piece of sprue, put a little glue on it down there, and then now I drop my rudder pedal in there. I fiddled with it because I wanted to position it so that my rudder will be turned a little bit. So there it is, a little crooked on purpose. So I'll give her a little bit of right rudder. There's the joystick, spade grip. Changed the that part because again that was rolled paper, and so this is just to speed up. I just made pulled sprue just like that, and then cut that and glued it and used it. And a little bob of glue on the bottom of it, and then just pop it into where it shows on the floor. Easy. And then again, fiddling with it to make sure it's where you want it. I wanted it slightly bent over so I can have a little aileron on the left wings, just to give it a little animation, make it look more interesting. Now this part I didn't even notice. This is ammunition containers that go between the instrument panel and the forward. Now that piece is a piece that goes around that shape, and I had to cut the little bends so that it would actually bend around. You can see that the shape is sort of it isn't flat, it's actually kind of bent. You can see that on that piece. So you have to put those pieces on, have to sort of fold them so that they will bend and follow that piece. So first thing I did was put a little glue on those tip teeth, and then just glued them, put a little pressure and glued them onto one side. Because the reason I started with the top is that's where there's two little fake holes for the ammunition belts that will come up and feed the Vickers machine guns. So then I fold the other side over so that it's nice, pinched it closed. Right there, I'm pinching the little teeth so that it sets. So now that I know that that's centered, now it's just it's not difficult, a little fiddly, but you just basically got to pull those pieces down and make sure those fatter teeth go in, and those provide you a gluing surface. And you just play with it and you test fit it, just like we did with the bulkheads. And again, you have to not cut them, but make a fold, so that a little crease so that the piece bends so that it will follow that contour easier. And I put some glue on the little teeth or on the inside edge of the ammo box, and now I'm just positioning those teeth. And again, it's not hard, but like here you have to sort of push it in. I use a combination with my fingers, X-Acto blade, tweezers, and then you get it in and you can kind of force it into the shape, into the contour, and then you do the other side. I'm putting glue on the inside on both edges, and then I go ahead and put the other side in and do it the very same way. Again, not difficult, a little fiddly, but it comes together okay. So I'm just going to fold it down and make sure those teeth go inside. Again, this kit so far fits extremely well. Um, all these pieces actually go together really slick. Um, and then the parts I had trouble with, or not trouble, but the tail surfaces and stuff, those were, I made them smaller, the skeleton smaller, and that might just be the way they had it designed. I wanted it smaller myself. So all this stuff that looks really painful fits like a glove. And there, the last pieces are the two little tips, and those have three teeth that fold in. And if you play around with it and you've pre-bent it so that it goes in, you can see I stuff that little tooth into the inside, and then give a little pressure with my index finger, and it slides right into place. And you fiddle with it until it goes in. And you got to work relatively quickly because you got glue on there. The truth of the matter is, if you don't, it's something that's not going to hardly be seen anyway, but it'll fit better if it's flush. And so now I do the other side. Same procedure, just sort of clip them in place, use fingers, use tools, just to get them so that they slide in together. And I got the edges in, but now I got to get that last piece in. So this time I'm using tweezers, but the X-Acto blade works too. Once they're in, you shore them up with your fingers, push it against the table, whatever, so that it's all nice and square. And there is the ammo bins there. Don't know how accurate it is, but it'll look nice and busied up in there. Now it fits right there. I probably should have put it in before I did all this, but this worked just fine. This way I could kind of position it better. I was worried about how accurate everything would be. It turns out it's all very accurate, and it probably would have worked just fine. I was amazed like how the instrument panel went in clean as can be, right centered, beautiful. And the pieces for the holding up the seat, again, straight, perfect. The seat's horizontal, really slick. So there I'm just positioning that with a blob of glue, making sure it's at the right level it's supposed to be. Because again, that's where a couple of ammo belts are going to feed into the Twin Vickers and give it the hump you're used to. And there it is. And most of that is looking really good. Couple nights work and it's together. Now they're supposed to put those seat belts on. I looked at the real ones and they don't seem to look like that at all, so I'm not going to use those. I got to make my own, and I'll show you how I do that later. It's going to be thicker, basically. It should be thicker. But there it is, all together. Really all it needs are seat belts. I could put some wires in there, control cables for the rudders, but man, looks nice, and that'll be fun to just make the rest of the fuselage.